On the morning of 13 December 1937, barely a month after they had taken Shanghai, Japanese tanks entered Nanjing and General Machui's army took the city. There was no resistance. The GMD government had decided to retreat. The rich and well off had followed in their wake. The poor were left to their fate. What followed was 6 weeks of pure horror. Without doubt, this was one of the worst crimes of the Second World War, and yet one will find scarcely a reference to it in the 1065 pages of Churchill's Memoirs of the Second World War, published in 1959, or in the French historian Henri Michel's 947 page classic account, La Seconde Guerre mondiale, published in 1975. American war historians are marginally better. In one case, a single mention, in another case, a paragraph. What explains the amnesia? Not simply Eurocentrism, but the Cold War and the post war drive to integrate Japan at all levels: moral, political, economic, military, and monarchical. To acknowledge what happened at Nanjing would have led to questions being asked as to why the Allies had preserved Hirohito and his throne. The stubborn refusal of the Japanese government to admit to the scale of the crime is also linked to Hirohito. To this day, Sino-Japanese relations remain enveloped by the dark shadows of this atrocity. The most informative account in English appeared in 1997, The Rape of Nanking, by Iris Chang. As a young girl, Chang had first heard stories about Nanjing from her parents, both academics who left China for Taiwan after the revolution. The facts are now not disputed by most historians other than the nationalist variety in Japan. Chang writes of what happened after the city fell in December 1937. Japanese soldiers began an orgy of cruelty seldom, if ever, matched in world history. Tens of thousands of young men were rounded up and herded to the outer areas of the city, where they were mowed down by machine guns used for bayonet practice, or soaked with gasoline and burned alive. Years later, experts at the International Military Tribunal of the Far East, IMTFE, estimated that more than 260,000 non combatants died at the hands of Japanese soldiers at Nanjing in late 1937 and early 1938, though some experts have placed the figure as well over 350,000.